guys, what's up? It's Raven. Fun fact, the Victorian era and the era known as the Wild West were happening at the same time. And for some reason, that feels really wrong, but it's true. On another note, today I am here to admit something that's actually pretty vulnerable and kind of embarrassing. And I feel like some of you guys are going to judge me for it, but it's the honest truth. And I want to talk about it and I want to be real about it. And I feel like in a lot of ways, there's going to be people who can relate. And that's what I always do these things for. So, my confession, if you will, is that I am jealous of other creators. I am specifically dealing with a specific flavor of jealousy when it comes to some specific elements of some specific creators. Now, that in and of itself is probably not mind-blowing or shocking, as much as I know it's not a good thing, and as much as I try to avoid it, because I know that comparison is the thief of joy, and I know that I don't really have any real reason to be jealous or envious or comparing myself to other content creators or, my mutuals in this industry, whatever you want to call it. I know that it's not good. I know I should avoid it. I know. At the end of the day, though, I'm still a human being. It still happens. I would be lying if I tried to act like I never experienced any feelings of jealousy, envy, comparing myself, feeling bad about myself, wanting what they have, wondering how come they got this opportunity and I didn't get it, whatever the case may be. It's the truth. It's the truth. I don't feel it all the time. It's not something that just takes over my whole life. I don't want to make it seem like every day I'm just walking around angry because I have so much pent up jealousy towards all the other creators around me. It's not like that, but it's more of a specific jealousy rooted in a specific thing, and I just want to talk about it. And this is, I think, an interesting topic because it can be embarrassing. It can be honestly kind of humiliating, I guess, to admit when you are actually having feelings of jealousy. It's something that I think is, obviously frowned upon, looked down upon. Like nobody likes to, literally say like, oh, I'm jealous of you. Unless, it's in a playful way or you're talking amongst friends or someone that you really trust or really admire, and you mean it more in a way where it's like, oh, I admire you. I'm jealous of you. I wish you had what you had. There's a way that I guess you can kind of put almost a positive, complimentary spin on it. But while I think I am having some of those feelings where it's just I admire certain people, I know that I am also having some more negative feelings of jealousy, more of that feeling of envy. And I think that's sort of the difference between jealousy and envy. Actually, let's look it up. Let's look up the true definition, because I know sometimes you hear people use those words interchangeably, but also I think they technically have different meanings. Okay, so what is the true definition of jealousy? Feeling or showing envy of someone or their achievements or advantages. Okay, so it's using the word envy in the definition of jealousy. And then if you look up envy, a feeling of discontented or resentful longing aroused by someone else's possessions, quality, or luck. The desire to have a quality, a possession, or other desirable attribute belonging to someone else. So, I mean, they mean the same thing. It's wanting what somebody else has, long story short. And having that feeling of oh, I wish I had that. Or I think there's also a piece of it sometimes where it's I should have that and you shouldn't. Not only do I want what you have, but I feel like you don't deserve what you have. And I wish that I had it instead of you. Sometimes it's we both can have it and that's fine. I'm glad that you have it, but I just also want to have it. We can share it. Happy to be in this space with you. But sometimes when we're really honest with ourselves and maybe when we're at a low point, sometimes the truth is what we're really feeling is I should have that instead of you. So let me just dive right in. This is going to be me being super honest, super vulnerable. Judge me all you want, because I know that some people are. That's just how this goes. Whatever. I'm just going to be honest. I sometimes get pretty intense feelings of jealousy or envy when I compare myself to other content creators. Not so much when I'm comparing, like, oh, she got more views than me, she has more followers than me, she makes more money than me, she's more well known than me. Not really like that, but more so with the specific opportunities that they're given, the specific connections that they've been able to make, the specific trips that they've gone on, the events that they've been invited to, collaborations that they've done, those types of things. Not so much about the numbers. Because at the end of the day, I am honestly and truly in a place where I realize that the numbers really don't matter. And they don't even matter as much as they used to. Like, there was once upon a time, years ago, when how many followers you had and how many views you were getting mattered a lot more. And there was a big difference between someone who had 500,000 followers versus someone who had 1 million followers. Nowadays, it's like those two people are going to be in the same room doing the same thing. You know what I mean? It depends on other things. And so I don't really care. I'm not insecure. I am not ashamed of. I am not worried about my follower count. You look at my follower count on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, I'm fine with it. I'm proud of it. 9 times out of 10, when I tell somebody how many followers I have or I show somebody my page, they are impressed. 9 times out of 10, I find myself in spaces where I have the most followers in the room. I'm not embarrassed by that at all. Even though I'm not a mega influencer, I think I'm considered a macro influencer. Depends on who you ask, but I'm not like a mega influencer. I don't have 10 million followers on any platform. I don't even have 1 million on Instagram, but I have a lot. I'm proud of that. I think I'm doing just fine in that area. And I also think I'm doing pretty well when it comes to like views and engagement overall. Views and engagement, definitely, I've talked about this ad nauseum, but has been down on YouTube for me recently. But there's been times where I've been getting millions of views on YouTube consistently, millions of views on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. I'm saying all this to say that there truly is no logical reason for me to be jealous of another creator who might really have like way more followers than me or way more views than me, because I am satisfied with where I'm at with that, if that makes sense. I may not be the top creator. I may not have the most followers. I could have more. I could be getting more views. I could get my engagement back up on YouTube specifically, for sure. And sometimes, I might have that goal, but where I'm at is nothing to shake a stick at. Where I'm at is not embarrassing and not for nothing. And I'm very proud of where I'm at. And I like really, truly feel that in my heart, to where like nobody can make me feel small in that sense. So just wanted to get that explanation out of the way. So the feelings of jealousy instead stem from, like I said, the opportunities. Because that is something that has been hard for me over the years, in terms of like, I've been offered a lot of really amazing opportunities. I feel like I have to put so many disclaimers in this episode, because people who aren't influencers at all, or small influencers, or, just basically people who have never been in my shoes at my level, of course, are going to look at me and be like, what the hell are you talking about, Raven? You have nothing to complain about. You should be thankful. You should be lucky. I would kill to have the opportunities you have. I would kill to be in your shoes. You're in the best position. Like, how dare you say anything negative about where you're at? Because, so many people would kill to be where you're at. Yes, but it's all about perspective. From your perspective, from a certain perspective, you look up to me and you think that I'm in the best position and you would kill to be in my position. But think about somebody else's perspective who's already above me. They're looking down on me. It's all about perspective. There's no one way to feel about it. And I feel the way I feel because I'm me in my position with my experience and having lived my life and having the goals that I have and having already achieved what I have. You got to think about what it would feel like to be me, compared to other people. And it's not to say that I'm not thankful for what I have or what I've achieved or the opportunities that I've gotten. I am, but and in this industry specifically, the thing about it too is that there's like no ceiling. There's like, this industry has a endless, almost everlasting ladder that you can climb, where it's just like more followers, more views, more money, more opportunities, more trips, more gifting, more events, meeting with bigger and bigger brands, working with bigger brands, meeting more celebrities, doing this, doing that. And it's like it's almost like every year, as this whole social media thing has evolved, it almost seems like every year they find another way to take it up a notch. They find another way to reward the biggest creators. There's like, it just keeps building and building and building. I mean, think about how things were back in like 2016. You know what I mean? Think about just the way that the industry and social media and media in general and branding and marketing and all this stuff. Think about how much that has like changed and grown and exploded, and the types of things that you see creators doing now that they didn't used to do, in terms of like, there was once upon a time when there was no influencers on the red carpet at the Grammys. That wasn't always a thing. That's something that kind of slowly happened over time. And now half the people on the carpet are influencers. You know what I mean? And so that's an example of what I'm talking about for myself, is like, I started off in this game with pretty humble goals. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wanted to be able to create content full time as my full-time job. And then once I did that, I was like, okay, I don't just want to make a barely livable wage. I want to make a very comfortable income. Okay. And then I increased my income goals more and more. And then it was like, okay, I want to reach 1 million followers on YouTube. I want to reach 1 million followers on TikTok. I want to work with this brand that I really like and this brand. And I want to do this type of collaboration and this type of brand deal. Cool. Just like normal creator things. It didn't even really cross my mind to say, I want to be invited to the Grammys, or I want to be invited to a party where I'm going to meet Beyonce one-on-one, or I'm going to be flown out to Dubai and taken on this luxury crazy vacation by this brand. I didn't even like think about that at first, because that wasn't really like happening at first. But then as it slowly started happening and I started seeing other creators get those type of opportunities, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I do want to do that. But here's my thing. I never enacted the proper strategy to be that type of creator, to be that type of influencer who's going on all the trips, all the red carpets, all the movie premieres, the more celebrity adjacent, Hollywood adjacent, not even Hollywood adjacent, but like Hollywood type of influencer with the glam team and the stylist and just jet setting around. Like, I did not play my cards right to achieve that. Point blank, period. I didn't do it. Why? I didn't want to. I struggle. I think that my thing is, and maybe this is like a Virgo thing, but I think part of why I get frustrated about it still to this day is because I know that I could have. I've seen the other people who did do it. I know how they did it. I know that I'm capable of doing everything that they did. I know that I could have played my cards a certain way in order to position myself more like that, to get more opportunities like that. But I chose not to. For the most part, I chose not to. I made specific decisions and positioned myself in a specific way and focused on certain things instead of other things. And I chose not to. And I let a lot of those opportunities pass me by. And I think now, I'm 31 years old. I'm coming to a different phase of my career and my life. And I'm thinking back on my earlier years of content creating. And I'm thinking back on some of those decisions that I made. And part of me regrets it only because I truthfully sometimes struggle with jealous feelings watching the other creators who are doing it, who have done it over the years, or who are currently doing it. And I'm like, that could have been me. That easily could have been me. You can't tell me that that couldn't have never been me. And I think that's what frustrates me. But then at the same time, it's like, but there's a reason why I didn't do it. There's a reason why I didn't do it, because I didn't feel like it was what was best for me. And to get more specific, one of the biggest things, moving to LA. As a content creator, one of the best things you can do is move to LA, or at least New York or Atlanta, or, some sort of major city like that. There's a reason why when somebody starts popping off on social media, they always move to LA or something like that. It's because that's where the opportunities are. That's where everything is happening. There are agencies and brand headquarters there. All the events and the red carpets and everything is going on there. Obviously, the celebrities and all the other creators and other influencers that you can meet and collaborate with and, rub shoulders with and network, like everything is there. So if you live in the middle of Minnesota, or if you're like me and you live in the suburbs of Austin, Texas. I don't even live in actual Austin, Texas, by the way. I live like in the boondocks. If you're in some quote unquote random place like that, you're going to miss out on a lot of things that are going on in the industry because you're just physically not there. And when there's certain events going on, these brands and these, PR agencies and whoever is putting on the event, they have more than enough talent locally who they can invite for free, who will show up to their event for free and post and promote their event or their product or their brand or whatever it is for free, that they really do not need to try to pay to fly another creator out who lives out of state, to fly them in just to have them at the event. Not saying that that never happens, not saying that I've never done that, because I have. I've been flown out before, definitely, but it's a lot more rare. You know what I mean? It has to be a really specific situation for you to be like, hey, you random creator all the way in the middle of Texas, we really want you to be a part of this. So we're going to spend extra money. We're going to spend extra effort to freaking locate you and pinpoint you in the first place. And then we're going to fly you out to make sure that you're here for this opportunity. Why would they do that when there's 400 million other influencers who fit the bill right there locally down the street, and all they have to do is send them an Instagram DM and say, hey, come do this thing for free, and they're going to all come. You know what I mean? Think about it like that. That's a big reason why I don't go to a lot of things. Or you may see certain, just certain, like I said, events or trips or whatever going on, and you see a lot of my mutuals there, but you don't see me there, because think about where my mutuals live. It's New York, LA. Those are the main two. But like I said, there's a couple of other major cities too, but definitely LA is like the number one. As far as social media, like content creator, influencer culture, for sure. And that's been something that I've been frustrated by. Now, mind you, there are definitely creators who don't live in LA, don't even live in California. They live out of state, and they make it a point to fly themselves into LA regularly to attend those events and to have those networking opportunities. They are paying for themselves. They are not being flued out by the people on their dime. They are on their own dime, paying for themselves to take a trip to LA just so they can make sure that they're in town so that they can attend these events. And once you get invited to the first one, let me put y'all up on some game. The way that this really works is once you get invited to one event, you're sort of put on a list, like a sort of like a PR. It's usually with like a PR agency, or it might be with the brand themselves or some sort of agency where it's like, okay, you were on this list for this event. You came, you saw, you posted. They were glad to have you. Okay, now you're going to be on the list for the next event. And it might be for that same brand, but it also might be for a different brand that same agency is representing. So it becomes sort of like this networking circle, this circuit of like, once you're in, you're in. Like if you've made a name for yourself as a creator and you've gotten that one first invite, or you were a plus one of a creator friend, because that's another big thing. The plus one, a lot of times they will give you a plus one, whether it's for an event or a brand trip. They will give you a plus one. A lot of times creators will bring their creator friends if they're not going to bring their significant other. And then that plus one ends up being actually invited on the next one, because that's how they kind of got on the list. And so it becomes this domino effect of like, okay, as long as you can be here, like I said, for these events that usually go on in LA, as long as you can be here, like we're not going to fly you out because we're not going to pay for that. But as long as you can get yourself here, you're on the list. We'll send you the invite. And so a lot of creators are just flying themselves out to LA to be at these events, which is like, you would do it too if it was like a major brand, let's say it's, I don't know, Sacred by Beyonce, or one of the Fenty brands with Rihanna, or Rare Beauty and maybe Selena Gomez is going to be there, or just some other major brand, all the major makeup and beauty brands, hair care brands, fashion brands, you name it. If y'all follow beauty and fashion girlies, specifically like on Instagram, you see it all the time. There was definitely obviously a lull because of COVID. COVID like shut down all the in-person events and brand trips and stuff. But right before that, and now after that, now that the world has opened back up, and especially lately, I feel like this year it's like really booming. Like they're like revving up all the in-person events and trips and stuff like that. If you follow fashion beauty girlies, you see them. It's like almost every other day, every weekend, some brand is hosting something like that. And you kind of see more or less the same like circle of influencers attending or being invited. And that's because of that sort of networking circle and kind of getting on that initial list, like I explained. Also, it sometimes has to do with your management. So a creator might have, be signed to a management agency or have a manager or be represented by, whether it's an influencer agency, a PR agency, something like that they're signed to. And that agency might have connections to get them invited to certain events or trips, or sort of like facilitate that for them. And so you'll see a lot of girls who are signed to Kensington Gray is a really big management agency. The girls who are signed to DBA, which is who I more newly signed to. And there's a couple other ones, but I would say like for my demographic, my type of influencer, the girlies who, if you watch me, you might watch them, like us young women of color who kind of started around the same time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm scared to name names because like, I would hate to mention somebody's name and for them to see this and be like, no, like, I don't consider myself on the same list with you. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like for someone to say like, no, I'm not your mutual, but, y'all know, I feel like y'all could think of the types of creators that I'm talking about. A lot of them are signed to like Kensington Gray or DBA, or I'm trying to think of what the other third popular one is. I can't think of the name right now, but a lot of these girls are signed to the same management agencies. They get invited to these same events, whatever. Long story short, living in LA makes a huge freaking difference because you are physically there, able to network, able to attend the first event and get on the next list and do this and do that and be somebody's plus one and meet another creator who can then look, because I've done it. I've made it a point. Sorry, I feel like I'm so scatterbrained because I'm trying to say like 75 things at once. But I've made it a point more recently to try to get out and go to more events and do more things like that because of the feelings of jealousy that I was having. I was like, well, you chose not to. You chose not to move to LA. You chose not to make it a point to show up to these events. You kind of like ostracized yourself in a sense and focused on other things. But just like you chose not to, you can still choose to try to. Like, it's not too late or whatever. In some ways, I'm not moving to LA. Like, I feel like not that it's too late for me to move to LA, but it's just, let me come back to that. Oh my God. Okay. I need to calm down. What I was going to say is, just like I chose not to pursue that side of being a creator, I can also choose to do something about it now. So over the last, I would say 2 years or so, I tried to make more of an effort to at least get invited and show up and strategize a little bit when it comes to local events, so stuff that's happening here in Austin locally, which is not comparable to what goes on in LA or New York or Miami or Atlanta at all. Like Austin is just not comparable. This is not the number one hotspot prime location for stuff like that. It just isn't. And it's not really the hub of very many brands that I'm into necessarily. One brand that is here is Kendra Scott, the jewelry that I always wear. And I've gone to a couple events for that brand, which have been really nice. And that's kind of like a very Austin thing. So I always try to be in that circle. But a lot of other brands, it's only been just recently, honestly, I feel like, that they've even started to host or do anything here in Austin. Like for the longest time, I felt like there was never any social media influencer, content creator related anything going on in Austin. Now there has been more, and especially when it's like South by Southwest. Of course, there's a ton going on for South by Southwest because that's like the whole point of that festival now. But even outside of that, there have been a few more events. So I don't know if y'all saw recently, I've been going to South by Southwest stuff for sure. But also outside of that, I recently went to a CoverGirl event here in Austin, one for Catrice Cosmetics. That was actually the same night right after CoverGirl. Like I said, I've been to a few Kendra Scott things. I went to the other day, I went to the Malibu Barbie Cafe grand opening. I have my Malibu Barbie shirt on right now, actually, which that was really cute. They're doing the pop-up cafe or whatever, and they did a special night for influencers before they open it up to the public. So I got invited to that. There's a couple other things I can't remember, but I've been trying to just make an effort to go to these local things. But what I was going to say too is I have a group chat going with all of my local creator friends. So all of my friends who do content here in Austin, we're in a group chat and we always share stuff with each other. The whole point is we're trying to put each other on, we're trying to help each other out. And one of the main things that we do is let each other know when there are any local events happening. And for example, somebody might come in the group chat and say, hey, is anybody else going to this event? I just got the invite. Just want to know who's all going to be there. Or somebody might say, hey, I got this invite. They gave me a +1. Who wants to be my +1? And then people will reply. Or sometimes it'll even just be, hey, I got invited to this event. Does anybody want to go? I can try to submit you to the people to see if they will add you on the list. And so it kind of just depends how it goes. But that's honestly how I've gotten to go to a lot of things, is because somebody else in the group chat either brought me as their +1 or got me on the list or told me about it. I didn't get the invite directly. And I'm here locally in Austin. I'm a local Austin content creator with a cumulative however many millions of followers. You would think that I would be invited, but sometimes I'm just not, because I'm kind of off the radar in that sense, if that makes sense. I'm not somebody who is always out, always networking, always getting on these lists. So it's I find myself still trying to get it going, if that makes sense. But I've been putting in more effort, and I definitely have seen an increase of invites for sure. And another thing too is, in the past when I did get invited to stuff, there's been so many times where I got invited to something and I didn't go for one reason or another. So I think it's true that after a while, they're going to stop inviting you. And so to go back to what I said about how I know that this is something that I could have done, but I chose not to. We talked about not moving to LA. If I would have made it a point to move to LA, that would have made a big difference. The other thing too, though, is even though I didn't move to LA, there were things that I got invited to and I didn't go before. Why? Because I'm introverted. I'm a homebody. I didn't want to go to something where I felt like I wasn't going to know anybody. I'm a mom. Maybe there was times where I just literally couldn't go because I had Zaya and I didn't have anyone to watch her, or whatever the case may be. But more or less a lot of the stuff that I skipped out on early on was more so just because of my introvertedness and just like not wanting to go and not thinking that it was important and not feeling like, just didn't really have a lot of motivation to go. And so I think because I started off that way, not moving to LA, not going to very many local events when I did have the chance, not making it a point to network with other creators very much. Y'all remember the YouTube sisterhood? The YouTube sisterhood kind of came and went, and those were my homies at one point, and that was sort of like a content creator networking situation. As y'all know, that all sort of like fizzled out and fell apart. And one of the main reasons why it sort of fizzled out is because I didn't make a huge effort to stay friends with most of those girls. Not even necessarily because there was something wrong with any of them, but just because like, I'm just that type of person. I'm an introvert. I don't need a lot of friends. I don't feel like I don't know how to explain it. It's just like, it's not something that I'm motivated to do. Networking and staying in touch and checking in and let's do lunch and let's do this and let's collab on a video and it takes a lot of effort and, being very strategic and very, it doesn't just happen. You have to put in that effort and that energy to network and then maintain those relationships and then continue building new relationships and then, going to the events and showing up. And it just was like, that's hard for me. That's still hard for me to this day. You know what I mean? And I think that's definitely one area where, in a sense, I kind of fumbled because imagine if I would have put in more effort to do that earlier on, what different position might I be in today? Because networking is so important. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And in this industry, that is super, super, super true. A lot of amazing things that have happened to me within my career have come from who I know, just knowing the right person or the right person knowing me or talking to the right person. So when you're not doing that, when you're staying to yourself, when you're staying in your house and you're just staying to your local hometown friend circle and your friends from high school and friends from college, like, how is that helping my career? It's not. Now, I was still doing well in my own little bubble. You know what I mean? I was if you look back on my come up, it had very little to do with, networking, if that makes sense. Like you saw a lot of creators do a lot of collabing. Like I think about the era when it was Laura Lee, Manny MUA, like Jeffree Star and Patrick Star. And like, you remember when it was like the beauty guru crew and they like all lived out in LA and they would make videos together and they would collab and they would do partnerships and they would be in each other's video and they were kind of like sending traffic back and forth and sending followers back and forth and going to these events and hosting these events together. Like it was really sort of like a group thing or a partnership thing or a collaborative thing. And there's a lot of examples of that throughout the sort of history of influencership. And when you look at my history, you don't see that. You see very little of any of that going on. I went to BeautyCon a couple times here and there. I went to Generation Beauty real quick with this one, but I was just very much like, I've always felt like I've just been like doing the bare minimum when it comes to the social part of this career, the travel part, the actually like showing up and showing out and talking to people. I feel like I've always sort of felt negative feelings about that part and felt like I don't feel like it. I don't want to, like, this just doesn't suit my personality. This is just not me. Like, it just doesn't feel natural to me. I feel uncomfortable. I feel drained by it. Like, it's just not very fun for me. I don't want to do it very often. And so I would just sort of do it here and there, like very sporadically. And, here I am. You see the results of that versus somebody else who like makes it a freaking point. I'm moving to LA and I'm going to meet as many people as possible. And I'm going to collab and I'm going to show up to every event. I'm going to reach out to brands and I'm going to reach out to creators and I'm going to hit them up and ask them if they want to come. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way that you can be super strategic about it. And I've seen that firsthand. Like, I'm talking about, creators that I have these virtual friendships with. And like, I'm on their close friend story. They're fully documenting this process of like, this is what I'm doing because I'm trying to get here. And I'm watching them do that. And I've watched so many creators do that over the years. Meanwhile, I've sat back and not done as much. Now, it's a strange feeling because, again, I did that for a reason because I didn't want to. It didn't feel natural to me. It didn't feel enjoyable for me at the time. It didn't feel important. I felt like, you know what? I have my own goals. I'm just working on my own content by myself, doing my thing. I have my daughter. I'm a single mom. I just want to make sure that I'm, making enough money, working with the brands I want to work with. I'm working from home. I can spend time with my daughter. I'm not here and there and everywhere and just whatever. Like I said, I kind of had my little humble goals, my little situation that I wanted for myself. And I felt like this is all I need. I don't need to be in LA. I don't need to be everywhere that they are. I don't need to be at every red carpet or on every trip or doing this or doing that, moving here, moving there, why do I need to do that? Like that's cool for them. And it's fun to do sometimes. And I will pop out here and there. But like at the time, I genuinely felt satisfied with my own little way of doing it in my own little humble, introverted way. And it wasn't until years later and more recently, like I said, it's now that I'm looking back on it. I'm looking back on it and I'm feeling jealous and regretful just because I think it's just that feeling of like, what if, or it's like FOMO. I guess it's literally just FOMO because I don't know. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like the only reason why I really wish I would have done it or why I want to do it now is almost like just to say I did it, just to cross it off the list with everything else, just because I see somebody else doing it and I know that I could also do it. So now I just want to do it just to say I did it. Or like I see somebody else doing it and I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I don't really want to do it. I just want to do it because they're doing it, which is like usually not like me. Usually I'm not a peer pressure, crowd follower, bandwagoner type of person. Usually I'm totally fine with being the odd man out, being the weird one, being the one who kind of walks my own path and does my own thing and does things a little differently. Like I'm very used to that and I usually like it that way and it usually doesn't get to me. But for some reason recently, this particular desire of wanting to be like the other Hollywood influencer girls has just crept up into my spirit. And maybe there's something deeper there that I'm not realizing. But the thing is, it's harder now because it's not impossible. And like I did sign to do management. I was talking about how I'm signed to DBA, which is one of the biggest agencies, and they do have a lot of pull. And they, even just on my last meeting with my manager, they were asking me like, are you interested in going to more events? Do you want to do speaking engagements? Do you want to do more travel? Like they have a lot of pull and there is a lot that they can do to sort of like position me and get me in the right rooms and have me actually have a meet. I'm going to be going to LA soon. And and this is perfect example. I'm actually going to LA because one of my best friends from college, Daisha, moved to LA. And so I'm really just going to LA to hang out with my college friends. It has nothing to do, like my motivation for going there is to just hang out with my real, true college friends. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, I am going to be in LA. I should probably tell my management that I'm going to be in LA. I should probably try to do some sort of networking, some sort of meetings, events, something while I'm there. Like that's what I should be doing that I never do. And so I told my management and they were like, yeah, we definitely could set you up with this meeting and this and that. And I was like, okay. So you see how it's kind of like, it's up to me. It's like, I have to just do it. And then the opportunities are there. It's not like I'm not eligible for the opportunities. I think that's the best way to put it. It's not that I'm not eligible for certain opportunities or that I wouldn't be able to or that it wouldn't be offered to me. It's that I don't often allow for it or position myself or sort of like open myself up to it. And so what that means is that it just boils down to the fact that like I have to do certain things to position myself a certain way, and I may have to go outside of my comfort zone. I may have to do something that makes me a little bit nervous or a little bit just uncomfortable, or I may not necessarily feel like doing it, or it might not be the most fun thing for me or the most genuine, deep connection that I'm making with someone, but I might just need to connect with that person just to get me where I need to be. You know what I mean? Like, this is a job at the end of the day. And I think that's also what's so weird about it is that what do you mean this is a job? This is not a job, but it is a job. And it definitely feels like work sometimes, but other times it doesn't feel like work at all. And like, what am I even doing? Like, what even is this industry? What do you mean I'm a content creator? What do you mean I'm an influencer? What do you mean going to red carpet events and going on trips is part of my job? What do you mean I have to go to LA and I have to meet with these people and I have to, what's the word? Sort of like get buddy with them if I want to be on certain lists and if I want to be invited to get this next opportunity to maybe get this brand deal. Like the whole like concept of how an industry like this works truly behind the scenes is so strange when you really think about it. And I think part of it also just sort of makes me feel icky. Like you hear all the time stories of Hollywood, LA in general, and how people are fake and everyone's an opportunist and you can't trust people because they're just trying to see what they can get from you, and all the fake friends and fake connections and people talking behind your back and you can't you're like, whatever. You hear that all the time, and that's definitely true of the content creator influencer side of it as well, because these days, like there used to be more, I feel like, of a divide between the traditional Hollywood space versus like the influencer space. They were kind of like two separate things at first. And content creators or influencers were not considered to be real celebrities. And so there was like a separation there. Slowly, they've started to collide. Slowly, they've started to morph and interact and just mix together with each other to where now, like in a lot of ways, there's no divide there at all. You have influencers who are definitely considered celebrities and they're at all the same places with all the same like A-list celebrities, or at least B or C-list celebrities. Like I said earlier, when it comes to red carpets, look at any red carpet event, any premiere, any award show, anything like that, you are going to see almost an equal mix of someone who's considered to be like a traditional celebrity, an actor, a singer, something like that, versus the content creators, influencers. They're all mixed together. Like there's hardly any difference, at least when it comes to the bigger name influencers. Of course, there's still smaller influencers who are not in the Hollywood world. And then there's influencers like me who aren't necessarily small influencers, but have chosen or, ended up not being in the Hollywood world. So like, I don't consider myself to be a celebrity or famous or part of that world, not because I don't have the accolades, not because, again, it's not that I'm not eligible. It's not that I don't have the numbers. I don't have the clout or the enough of a presence, because I do have the same size, if not a bigger presence than a lot of the people who are there, but it's just the way that I've positioned myself. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm saying a lot of words and I'm hoping that you guys are understanding what I'm saying. I feel like I'm not doing a good job of explaining this, but I think, again, that's sort of what like frustrates me about it, is like knowing that I have what it takes technically, but I've sort of just like chosen not to fully milk it for what it's worth. I think that's what it really is too. It feels almost like I'm not milking my clout as much as I should have or could have. And now I'm kind of like getting old and getting towards more of the like end of my career in a sense. Like I'm thinking about retirement. I'm thinking about my exit plan. I'm like posting less, doing less, slowing down, whatever. That's by my own choice or whatever. I've talked a lot about that recently. But I ain't no spring chicken no more. Okay. It ain't 2015 no more. It's 2025. I put a lot of years in this game. I can't do this forever. And so I'm more at the end now. And I'm thinking back like, dang, I feel like I didn't really milk it as much as I could. Like, what, I should have done certain things, and I should have just bit the bullet and been uncomfortable and maybe even been a little bit quote unquote fake. There's a certain fakeness, a fake politeness, a fake friendliness, a fake, showing interest or whatever you want to call it, that is required to get into certain rooms. I don't care what industry you work in. When it comes to networking and trying to get to the top or get to the next level or like I said, meet certain people or get in certain rooms, there's a certain level of I'm not 100% being myself right now. That is required. I just think that's just the truth. You know what I mean? And I'm someone who just has in the past not done that. And now I'm thinking back like, man, maybe I should have done a little bit more of that. Maybe I should have shimmied my way into more of these rooms sooner and made it more of a point so that I could be on the red carpets, at the premieres, going on the brand trips, meeting Beyonce, meeting Rihanna, doing the things, whatever, having the cool, being friends with, I don't know. And that's one thing that I definitely don't care about is like being friends with certain people or like hanging out in certain cliques of like really big name influencers or even celebrities or artists or whatever. But that can also definitely be another perk. You meet all these cool people and sometimes you kind of form real friendships with them or as real as they can be. And you end up getting invited. Oh, let's go out afterwards to the after party or come over to this person's house. Like if y'all only knew the true ins and outs of this industry, like I'm telling you, the things that I see from being mutuals with other either LA based creators, big creators, whatever you want to call it, these type of creators that are doing these type of things that I've been talking about. I am mutuals with a lot of them. Like I said, I am on their close friend story. I see the real deal of what really goes on. There's a lot of cross connection with artists and actors and some pretty big name, athletes and stuff like that. And the way that it's like, oh, you met this person at this event, now you're at their house and now you're hanging out with Kylie Jenner, whoever the heck, like that stuff happens all the time, every day. And from my perspective, watching it happen, it looks relatively easy. Like once you've got the clout, once you've done the work to get the clout, to make a name for yourself online, enough of a name for yourself to get into that first door, if you work it and you milk it, there's all types of doors that you can get into. And I don't know. I guess my main thing is like, I'm at this place now where I'm like, okay, so do I actually want to put in the time, effort, energy, whatever the heck, to really try to get invited and get in these doors and meet these people and go to these events? Or do I just think I want to do it because I see other people doing it and it's like a false desire that's molded by, the way that society has tainted my view of what's really important. You know what I mean? Like I'm sort of struggling with like, what is the truth? Do I actually want to do it? Do I actually care about this stuff? Is it actually important to me? Is it really going to make me feel any cooler or any better to say, oh yeah, I've been here, I've done that with this person, whatever? Is it actually going to feel good when it's all said and done? Do I actually care? Or is it just because I see all these people, all my mutuals doing it, and I feel like it's almost like a status quo type thing, like keeping up with the Joneses, or just like, I think also too, maybe it's wanting to prove to myself, but also prove to everyone else that I can. Because in my mind, I know I can. It's almost like I don't really need to prove it to myself because I really, truly 100% believe I can. Anything that you see almost any other creator similar to me, anything you see them doing, any opportunity you see them get, I know I could get it if I really put my mind to it. I just have that confidence. Like, I just know it. Maybe that's cocky, maybe that's overconfident for me to say, but there's not that many, other creators, like I said, that are within reason, within my realm. Like, obviously there's all different types of creators in the world, and there's people who are in completely different niches that I know nothing about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about within my realm. It's hard for me to look at what any of those creators are doing and think to myself, oh, I could never do that. There's so much better than me, or so much prettier than me, or so much more talented than me, or so much whatever, that's why they've been able to do XYZ, but I would never be able to get there. I just don't feel that way. I just don't think that's true. I have never really felt that specific feeling. I felt the feeling of, dang, I could have done that, but maybe I missed my chance, or I would be able to do that if I did XYZ, or I could still do that if I did it. It's more like that. And so it's almost like, is it maybe just that I want to prove to everyone that I can, because I know I can, and I just want everyone else to know that I can, even though it's not really something that I originally really wanted to do. And I think that is part of it, because I do get messages sometimes of people asking like, oh, how come you weren't at this event? Or how come you didn't get invited on this brand trip? Or how come we don't see you on a lot of brand trips? Or how come you're not doing whatever the case may be? You name it. Like I said, events, trips, collaborations, product launches, being friends with certain people, being in certain circles, whatever. All that type of stuff. I keep repeating that. Y'all know what I mean, hopefully, when I say that type of stuff. People do ask me about it. And sometimes people are just genuinely like, they're not even trying to be rude or be petty. They're just genuinely curious, because it's like, yeah, why aren't I there? I definitely have what it takes to be there. And I think people are sometimes genuinely confused, like, shouldn't Raven be there? Why is she not there? And it's almost like I want to make it a point to be like, yeah, I should be there, and I can be there, and I will be there next time, even though I don't really want to go. And that's, you know what I mean? And so that's something that I've been really struggling with lately. And I keep sort of like dipping my toe in, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just do it. And then I'm like, well, no, I don't really want to. I'd rather do this instead. I'd rather do XYZ instead. And that's sort of my thing, is like, I'm somebody who, okay. This is what I was also going to say. I am somebody who has evolved throughout my social media career to focus more on displaying what I feel like are my actual talents versus just displaying my beauty. And I think that there's also a correlation here, because if you look at a lot of the girly pops who are doing the glamorous things, the events and the trips and the things, a lot of them are beauty fashion based creators, aesthetic based creators. The girls who you follow them because they look good, whether it's because they just look good within their face and their body, or whether it's because they look good because they have the best hair, the best makeup, the best fashion. But it's all about like looking good. It's all about aesthetics. It's all about beauty content, makeup content, skincare content, hair care content, fashion content. They work with those types of brands. That is what they focus on. That is like their bread and butter. You know what I mean? It's all about looks and aesthetics. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. And I went through a good long phase where I did that. I was definitely very into beauty content, fashion content, you name it, wig content, makeup, skincare, all those things, working with a lot of those brands, doing those sponsorships, doing those types of videos. I did it. I enjoyed it. I definitely think that it's valuable. I think that there's obviously a huge market for it. The beauty guru industry is huge. I would say, I guess it's not as big as it once was. Like, you think about the 2016 beauty guru era, it was huge at one point. It's still big now, but it's just a little bit different now. But what I'm saying is, when you look at a lot of the creators who are living the more glamorous lifestyle or feel like they're getting more of the glamorous opportunities, it is those aesthetic based creators. For someone like me who has started to lean more into truly lifestyle, DIY, crafts, motherhood, home decor, I'm doing a lot of content that is revolving around like Home Depot type brands or like grocery store type brands, Michael's craft store. Michael's craft store is not sending their influencers to the Grammys red carpet. Home Depot is not sending their people to, Bora Bora on a brand trip. Now they are doing some very high paying brand deals, and I got to shoot a national commercial with them. And so there's these other types of really cool opportunities that I'm very thankful for, and that are more so like in my lane, what I actually care about, what is actually important to me. And so I'm glad to be doing that. But there's a different aspect that I'm sort of missing out on because, like I said, Home Depot not going to send me to the Grammys. You know what I mean? Home Depot is not helping. Doing a commercial with Home Depot is not helping me get invited to the Fenty Beauty launch party to meet Rihanna. So you see how that works because of the type of content that I've shifted towards and the types of brands and what I'm focusing on and what I'm spending all my time doing, because it's a lot of work to do that. And I want to do it because that's my interest and those are my real talents. And that's where I feel like I can really provide value and feel fulfilled doing that type of stuff. And, I've talked about the shift that I've made in my content several times, but I feel like I've mostly talked about the shift from the mommy vlogger, Zaya focused videos to the more creative DIY party planning videos. And I talked about why I didn't really want to do the mommy blogger stuff anymore. But I never really talked about the shift from beauty and fashion to what I'm doing now, or like why I don't really do beauty, makeup, hair, fashion content very much at all anymore. And it's really because I just started to feel like there's not as much substance to that. Like I don't have as much value to bring in that space. Again, not that that space is not valuable. But it just feels, it is inherently more superficial. It just is. Like it's that weird, I have like a conflicting feelings of like, I do have a love for makeup and beauty and fashion and aesthetics and, the way that we express ourselves through our physical appearance. And I think that it's fun and it's, it's a meaningful industry. But then there is the other side of me that feels like, it is really superficial and it's not the most important thing in the world. And I don't really have too much to share or say about it. And I don't really want to be known for that and only that, especially in the way where it's like you follow certain creators and it's like you look at their page, you look at how they present themselves, and their only like talent is being beautiful. You know what I mean? It's like, I just didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be known as just a pretty face on the internet, just someone who can do decent makeup and hairstyling and put on cute outfits and just is conventionally attractive and just is someone that people think is pretty. And I get a lot of views or attention because I'm pretty and because I make content that focuses around the fact that I'm pretty. Like, it gets to a point where it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be known for that. Or just, I don't want to be known for only that. I think it's okay for that to be like a certain part of me or a facet of who I am online. And I think that's why I do still dabble in that type of content here and there. Every once in a while, you'll see me like post a TikTok or something where I'm doing my makeup or doing lashes. I like to go live and do my makeup and stuff like that. And who knows, like there may be a resurgence where I start really getting into more content like that. But honestly, that's a big reason why you don't see me focusing on that anymore. I think there was a time where people probably would have thought that I would have just continued down this path of being a fashion and beauty content. I went to college for fashion design, for God's sakes. I did a lot of beauty content at one point. I was like known for my makeup and wig videos. You probably would have thought that I would have, ended up like some of these other creators that I'm talking about who did go down that path. And not only did they do that, but they moved to LA and they went to the events and they went on the trips and they made friends with the right people and they did all those right things, along with being that perfect type of beauty and fashion, glamorous, known for being beautiful type of content creator. And that is what has gotten them certain opportunities that I haven't gotten, and that I'm now looking back on like, damn, if only I would have kind of stuck to that, because I know I could have, but I just didn't. And now it's like, okay, the hard part is you can't have it all. You can't do everything at once. That's always my problem. That's been my problem. I can't do it all, and I can't do it all well at once. I can't be a DIY, making stuff, building stuff, hosting these magnificent parties, working on all these room makeovers, working with Home Depot, shooting a commercial, doing all that stuff, and also makeup tutorials, wig tutorials, doing the wig review type videos, and working with the beauty brands, and flying out to LA and New York, and and being on the red carpets and going to every premiere and going all the, like, I can't do, who do you know who's doing all of that at the same time? I'll wait. Who do you know who is truly doing all of that at the same time? Being a mother, period, but also some sort of like motherhood type lifestyle type content creator, but also being a creative content creator in the sense of DIY projects, home decor, party planning, crafts, art, anything of that sort, but also a beauty creator, hair, wigs, makeup, skincare, but also a fashion creator doing that type of stuff and working with those types of brands and going to those types of events. Who do you know who is hitting all those niches, all those topics, displaying all those talents, keeping up with all those different types of content, all those types of projects, all those types of events, all those types of who do you know who is doing all of that mixed together? No one. And there's a reason for that. It's like too much. There's not enough hours in the day. There's just, like, it's too much. And again, I'm not trying to sound cocky. I do believe that I am good at all those things though. I could do, if I had more hours in the day, like I could be doing all those things. I am, and I have been a successful beauty guru. I have made successful fashion content. I have made successful motherhood content. I've made successful home decor content. I've made successful DIY content. I've made successful, like, in all those, that whole list, I've done it. I just can't do it all at the same time, And so I've sort of like bounced around and had to focus and pick and choose, I've had to pick and choose what I do and what I focus on and what I really pursue. And again, now I'm just at this spot where I'm like, it's not that I'm not happy with what I have. It's not that I'm not proud or I'm not thankful, but there are certain things that I just haven't quite crossed off of my bucket list. And I'm like, damn, how am I going to cross those things off? How am I going to make that work? I know it's possible, but it's definitely going to take some finesse to be able to do it. But more than that, is it even important? Is it even something that I should be trying to like add on to my schedule? And right now, my whole thing is that I'm sort of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like I said, I am going to LA soon. I did tell my management, we did set up a meeting. Like, I've been going to more local events. I've been sort of like, inching my way, trying to do more things in that realm. I've even become a little bit more social online and in real life with, a certain type of person, like I said, like other creators or, athletes, celebrities. I'm single again. And this is part of it too, honestly. Let's not forget when it comes to who that also includes dating. That also includes dating. It's not just who you're friends with or who you work with or who you collab with. It also is, who do you date? Do you date someone who is in that circle or who can have you as their plus one to something, or who can invite you to something or put you on in some type of way. I am single again. I am back on the dating market. And I have been, dipping and dabbling. I will say that I've been dipping and dabbling. And so I'm one foot, I'm like dipping my toe, one foot in the door, like, like just to kind of see, like, what would it be like? It's also like a curiosity thing. What would it be like if I just leaned a little bit more into it, leaned a little bit more into the glamorous Hollywood, whatever celebrity side of things? What, let's just see what can happen. But I'm fighting with myself because I'm like, A, I don't have a whole bunch of time to be doing all this extra shit. B, I don't really want to do it deep down in my soul because of my introverted ways and stuff. And C, I almost feel icky about it. Like, am I falling victim to the horrors of influencer culture in Hollywood and LA and the way that it's like so toxic, blah, blah, blah. Like, is it going to swallow me up? Like, am I, maybe I missed it when I was younger in my 20s when most people get swallowed up by it, but am I just a late bloomer and I'm going to get swallowed up by it in my 30s? Like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of one foot in, one foot out. And I think ideally, like, that would be the perfect balance, is to somehow be able to feel like I have the best of both worlds. Like, I can still be my normal, real, introverted, Austin, Texas, definitely not a celebrity, homebody. I'm just a mom with my regular friends who are not famous, whatever. Like, if I could just maintain that and do my thing and be myself, but also at the same time reap the benefits of the glamorous Hollywood mega influencer lifestyle when I want to. Like, I want to be able to like do both and like switch back and forth between both. And so I guess I feel like in order to do that, I do need to put a little bit more work into the other side of things to kind of rev up that side of things in a way that I haven't before. So y'all stay tuned. Be on the lookout. If you start seeing me going to more events, if you start seeing me spending more time in LA, if you start seeing me slightly switch up my content again or go back to other types of content I used to do, you know why. But I'm really interested to hear y'all's thoughts on it. Just in the sense of like what would you do? Like, or not even what would you do, but like, I don't know. I'm just interested to hear what y'all feel about this, because I'm being really honest and vulnerable. Like, I feel like kind of embarrassed because so much of this is almost like taboo, in the sense that wanting that the taste of the glamorous Hollywood lifestyle seems wrong. Like, even wanting that or asking for that or trying to position myself for that feels wrong. Like, I feel like y'all would almost be, I guess I feel like y'all, or a certain group of my followers, would be like disappointed in me for even wanting that. Like, does that make sense? And so I'm curious like how y'all feel about it. But yeah, I think that's all I got for today. I really have just been rambling on. I hope that this made some type of sense. Like I said, let me know y'all's thoughts. Be sure to follow Raven Elyse Podcast on Instagram to be in the loop with everything. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give me a rating on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on the Apple Podcast app, you can give me like a 5-star review. Write me a little rating. It really helps. And leave me a voicemail if you have something you want to share with me. The links are all in the description box. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye.